curiously coordinated younger brother of Strahinja and Nemanja Jokic. Pevkov was neither an NBA scout nor even a local coach in Sombor, where Nikola Jokic was raised. He was just a 22-year-old hooper, hungry to dominate the local court in the summertime, and learned quickly that doing so required Nikola Jokic's help. It didn't matter that Jokic wasn't in shape or that he would routinely arrive donning his signature look, untied shoes. It didn't even matter that Jokic was only 13 at the time, 9 years younger than his teammate. Pevkov discovered what others dismissed due to his appearance. Jokic was both gifted and intensely competitive. He was like a big teddy bear, said Pevkov, some 15 years after the duo shredded opponents daily, bewildering those who dismissed Jokic as cuddly. In Serbia, around the neighborhood, full-court games were atypical. It was strictly 3-on-3, as sometimes a dozen teams waited on the sidelines for their chance to play. Like any respectable court, the winner stayed on while the loser had no reason to stick around. Their day was as good as over. What Pevkov first noticed about Jokic was his competitive spirit. Even as a kid, he despised losing, no matter what game he was playing. A loss playing pickup meant having to find some other distraction to kill an afternoon. That was all the motivation Jokic needed. Pevkov, a short, stocky player, kept drafting Jokic for his team even as ignorant opponents sneered at his choice. Jokic followed his two older brothers, Nemanja and Strahinja, into the sport, but had a court sense that his bruising siblings lacked. Strahinja's playing style was as unassuming as a bulldozer. When he shot it, it was like a bullet, Pevkov said, conceding that the oldest Jokic brother was a literal wall on defense. He can only score if he dunked. Nikola, on the other hand, wasn't physically imposing. He wasn't fast or athletic, at least in the traditional sense, but his intuition dictated the games. He only needed willing cutters. 3-on-3 afforded Jokic a surplus of space, and his teams rarely lost. Jokic played the conductor, using the rugged court as his personal laboratory. According to Pevkov, the no-look passes that now carve up NBA defenses began between the faded white lines on the unforgiving rims atop the crimson mesh court of those pickup games, a court situated in the shadow of the Sombor housing complex where Jokic's parents raised their 3 boys. Save for a few trees that provided minimal shade and primitive bleachers on both sides of the court, Jokic's earliest court marked a humble and drab beginning to an improbable, astonishing journey. With irreverence, wit, and guile, Jokic carved a path more unlikely than anyone ever knew. His story, from an obscure prospect to one of the all-time greats, hadn't been told. Until now. Pevkov, like everyone interviewed in this book, could not have predicted the heights Jokic would reach. And it wasn't until 5 years later, after Jokic signed his first professional contract with Mega Basket in Belgrade, that Pevkov noticed a small but significant change in his friend's approach. With his shoes tied, Jokic started to warm up. He even started to stretch. Everybody was shocked, Pevkov said. It was like, what the fuck is this? From that moment, I knew he will succeed. Now, a few hundred yards in the distance, but perfectly visible from center court, towers a sun-drenched mural of Jokic dribbling, plastered to the side of a school that he attended. In a childlike font with big, bold letters, the mural proclaims, "Don't be afraid to fail big." Chapter 1. Sombor. If those pickup games represented Jokic's informal introduction to basketball, his official indoctrination was significantly more turbulent. Jokic formally registered to play basketball in 2002, with a picture as rudimentary as a passport photo. Behind his sunken blue eyes, pale face, full cheeks, and overgrown haircut, there was something mischievous about his 7-year-old gaze. It was as if he was already daring future opponents to doubt him based on his appearance. That